Good evening. So today we are here to discuss certain tips on how to maximize your score for social sciences. So your term 1 exams with this new pattern is due in few months. So before we go into the details of it, I'll just give you a brief overview on social sciences. See, social sciences, normally what we understand, the subject of SST, geography, geography, economics, polity, history, these all subjects we think that we need to mug up things. We need to revise, we need to learn, we need to remember everything. The whole subject is focused on rote learning. This is the normal perception in the market. लोग यही सोचते हैं कि और यही हमें सिखाया जाता है. This is what we learn, that you should remember these facts. History is all about stories. You need to remember facts. Economics is about concepts. You just learn the definitions. You will get through the exam. See, social sciences is not just a normal subject which you will deal with in these classes only. This is up to class 10th if you are not opting for these subjects in class 11, 12. And most of the students, they don't. Social sciences is so important for your career, not just beyond your IIT or BTech or your doctor if you are going for medical. It's important for you as being a citizen. Career mein to I'll tell you how it will help in different ways. A normal citizen, a person living in a society, how important is social sciences? Consider the example of the recent news of अफगानिस्तान. सबकी टाइमलाइन पे, फेसबुक पे, इंस्टाग्राम पे, व्हाट्सएप पे मैसेजेस आए, तालिबान इज इन अफगानिस्तान, ये वो. एवरीथिंग वाज हाईजैक्ड बाय दिस टॉपिक. इवन इफ यू डोंट follow the news, you would have heard about this topic, Afghanistan and Taliban, what all is happening. Not the complete details, but a rough idea you would have known. Now, if you have read social sciences well in your classes, for example class 10th, सबसे पहले तो चीज, where is Afghanistan? जब आप न्यूज़ सुनते हो या कहीं से पढ़ते हो, सोशल मीडिया, you get so much of notifications on Afghanistan, so much of news coming. The first thing comes to the mind कि जो अफगानिस्तान है कहाँ पर? And why is there so much of news in India, not just in other parts, but also specifically in India? We talk about कि अफगानिस्तान, तालिबान का कुछ इंडिया में इफेक्ट होगा. इंडिया पे स्पेसिफिकली क्यों होगा? Why India? It's geographically very near to India. It's very near. It's our approximate neighborhood. So learning geography becomes important because up normal daily life में you should know about these things, about locations of various places. Afghanistan, I'm just giving you example. Now, the second thing, when we go in depth, why is this so much an issue? What about Taliban? इनकी क्या ideology है? In the first place, what is this ideology? Ideology होता क्या है? This is what your polity answers. This is what your polity will explain. This is what you have been reading in class 6, 7th, 8th, 9th, now in class 10th. You have chapters on division of power. Now, why is Taliban dangerous? You read about the first chapter in your class 10th NCERT on polity. You read about power sharing. So you will understand how things are very similar to what is happening. What is the example given in Sri Lanka? जबकि NCERT में the first chapter talks about two states. It talks about Belgium, it talks about Sri Lanka. So you can relate how this Taliban will be very much similar on that lines. So these things prepare you on your daily day-to-day life. कि आपको कैसी चीजें पता चलनी चाहिए, what you should know, what you should understand. You should make sense of your surroundings. This is why social science is important. Consider your career. You choose any career. Wherever you go for higher studies or anything, you need to have a knowledge on current affairs. Any interview process you go for any jobs, be it for an IT engineer, be it for a doctor, be it for an MBA, be it for anything, you'll have certain personality development tests. आप बाहर भी जाना चाह रहे हो, if you want to go for GRE, you want to go for GMAT, you need to know about the world. You need to know about your country. And from where is this knowledge coming from? तब जाके you will realize कि class 10th में हमने NCERT, if you would have remembered, if you would have understood things, if you would have certain conceptual clarity on those topics, we would make sense of the current affairs happening right now. You know about the exam of UPSC. UPSC, if you just heard from your seniors or heard from your relatives, the first thing we say is go and read the NCERTs again. You can only make sense of the world around you when you read the NCERTs, and the most important subject for that is social sciences. You should know the basics of geography. You should know the basics of polity. Then only you can make sense. I'll give you another example. Consider the example of having rains, cyclones in this part of the country. Bengal ke people would know that how big cyclones come. Abhi recently ek aaya tha. People of Odisha face cyclones. Why are these cyclones not happening here? इस वाले कोस्ट पे क्यों नहीं हो रहा? गुजरात, गोवा, महाराष्ट्र. Why don't we see these phenomena here? Answer lies in your geography. You understand Indian geography, you understand the weather and climate patterns, you understand that why these things are happening. And these things will come handy when you go ahead in future. When you appear for various interviews, you have to write certain essays for certain applications outside. You need to make sense of the world around you. They will ask you about rights. They will ask you about the politics of your country. They will ask you about the society of your country, the geography. This is one example कि यहाँ cyclone क्यों नहीं है? यहाँ पंजाब और हरियाणा में there are rains in winter. Why only these two states? यहाँ महाराष्ट्र में क्यों नहीं होती सर्दियों में बारिश? मध्य प्रदेश में क्यों नहीं होती? Consider any topic around you, any topic, be it from farmers' protest to what is happening to the country in terms of economy, in terms of the society, what laws are being made. आपकी PUBG ban होगी. This is something you would have been familiar with. Your PUBG was banned. Now, what was the reason for this? Everybody thinks India has certain war with China. What is this war? How do you understand what are the different political systems of both the countries? Nation state. There's a topic in the class 10th history NCERT on nation states, how nation states nationalism developed in Europe. Why did it not happen in China, or what exactly are nation states? Then you understand, then you come to the economy of the two nations, India and China. This banning of this game was related to economy. That we wanted to hit the China economy by banning this game because they were earning a lot of revenue from this. There were so many websites, so many games which were banned along with this. So understand social sciences, you make sense of the world around you. It has a very practical purpose that it will help you in your career. It will help you everywhere on every stage because you will be able to understand what is happening. I'm not talking about preparing for UPSC or government exams. वहाँ तो definitely you need to do that. That is why we say you need to read the NCERTs again and come here. तभी आपको कुछ समझ आएगा. So why not we invest everything here? Why do we not move from this rote learning just for clearing exam to understanding the concept right now? सिर्फ अभी के लिए we have remembered concepts like what is federalism, what is power sharing, what is say Panchayati Raj. In your chapter on federalism, there is a discussion on Panchayati Raj in rural areas and municipalities in urban areas. Why don't we understand right now exactly ho kya raha hai? Why should we just focus on remembering certain things which we will write in the exam and then forget? This is what we do. This is what society, the social sciences, this is what we've been taught. And this is not something happening to your generation. This has been happening since time immemorial. SST, because 10th के बाद इसका relevance कम होता है, we will just remember, write in the exam and then forget. And then when we go ahead in future, then we will realize काश NCERT पढ़ ली होती. So social sciences, take this as an important subject. Try to change your thinking about the subject from rote learning, from just remembering facts to understanding facts. I'll be going into detail on this. Maximizing score, one of the major chunks of social sciences is you need to shift your focus from rote learning to understanding. We don't face this problem in maths and science. There we are under the impression that यहाँ समझना पड़ेगा, that we need to understand the concept, then only we can score marks. But here the concept is different. यहाँ सब लोग सोचते हैं याद करना है और हो जाएगा. एग्जाम में मार्क्स आ जाएंगे. Yes, there are chances you can remember and get marks, but is it sustainable? Is it desirable considering your future long-term growth? Is it desirable for you as a citizen कि मुझे पता होना चाहिए क्या हो रहा है मेरी कंट्री में? You are the future. So social sciences, the subjects of polity, economy, geography, you have to shift your focus from rote learning to understanding concepts, conceptual clarity. How we will do that, I'll just come to that in a moment. Now, the various things, since the pattern has changed, the various things that need to be kept in mind. How do we start? The first is you should be clear on what the sources are. There are 4 subjects. Each 10 marks, each you will be getting questions, 40 marks, 10 is your internal assessment. All questions are multiple choice type questions, 1 mark each. So the first thing is we should be clear on the pattern, that exactly we have 4 subjects: history, geography, polity and economics. We have 4 NCERTs which are covering these 4 subjects. So the best thing about CBSE board exams is that your source is clear, that this is the book, this is from where we will be asking you questions. Nowhere beyond that. You just understand, remember things from this book, you understand, have a conceptual clarity. We will be testing you in all these 4 things, all these 4 books only. India and the Contemporary World 2, history; Contemporary India 2, geography; democratic politics, political science; and understanding economic development, economy. So these 4 NCERTs is your source. Now in the first term you have been given certain particular chapters from these subjects. From these NCERTs, not the complete book will be asked. The subjects have been divided in term 1 and term 2. So whatever the subjects have been decided, we will be going into detail into all these subjects, what kind of questions can be asked. But for now, your source is clear, the 4 NCERTs. The pattern is this, and the syllabus is few chapters of each. I will be going into detail on that, but we'll discuss it in the next segment. But before that, how do we start? See, the first thing which you need to keep in mind when you open these books is, the first time, the first reading is you getting familiarizing with the subject. This is your first reading. So when you are clear on what the book is, what the subject, what the syllabus is, you will first, in the first reading, you will just go through the chapter to understand what it is happening. Not exactly to understand, but get yourself familiarized with the concepts there. Yes, it is talking about power sharing. For example, the chapter 1 in your polity NCERT. It is talking, giving 2 examples of 2 different states. Then it is talking about the Indian context. How do we do power sharing in India? What are the benefits of power sharing? Then in the second chapter we talk about a specific case of power sharing, that is federalism. States, formation of states in India. What is the benefit of that? Then we talk about the Panchayati Raj system, decentralization at the local areas. So in the first reading, you need to know what all are the broad things which are being talked about in the syllabus. When you read for the first time, do not stress your mind to remember things in the first go. In the first reading, you are familiarizing with the concept. you are coming to know about various terms. There would be terms defined, you would know the definition in the boxes. Kuch nahi samajh aa raha, you can visit the internet. So in the first go, you just familiarize yourself with the content. Okay, what exactly I need to read, what are the broad things, what are happening. In this, try to mark down the important things. These 4-5 heads are important which I need to read. I'll show you how we will do that in different subjects. But in the first go, just familiarize yourself with the concepts. Familiarize yourself with what exactly is being talked about. Geography, natural resources, different classification of resources, usage of resources, water resources, agriculture, what are the different crops. So they're talking about different crops and talking about their climatic conditions, geographical conditions, that what are the exact conditions required for growing this crop. Where all in India are we growing these crops? So this is what the syllabus is talking about. In the first reading, do not stress yourself with remembering, understanding everything. In the first reading, familiarize yourself with the concepts, with the syllabus. Now, the second step which you need to take is your understanding. Now, once when you are clear on the syllabus, they are talking about power sharing, for example. Now, what exactly are they trying to explain through the story? Try to make out certain meaning, what exactly is happening. This step is important because this you are here building your conceptual clarity. Now you are trying to understand. Again, you are not trying to remember. अभी हम उस पार्ट पे नहीं आए जब we are trying to check if we are able to recall or not. शीट पे 4 facts लिखे हैं, you have just read, yes, this story happened, you are just trying to remember. No, you are reading the story with understanding the meaning of the story. Why are we doing power sharing? What exactly is the story telling? There are different groups, there are minorities, majorities, so how is power being shared amongst themselves? What are the different structures which help share power? How is India doing on this front? How is India sharing power? These all things are mentioned there. So you just don't have to learn. Just learn what is the benefits of power sharing. You need to understand why we are doing it. Open your mind here. Try to develop your conceptual clarity. You familiarize with the concept, first reading mein. Second reading is where you have to understand these concepts. Take help with your family. Take help of your teachers. Ask them questions. Why is this happening? Sometimes the NCERT will try to tell you two, three different things from just one story. So try to talk about that story with your friends. Communicate regarding what you think, what is being talked about. आपस में बात करो. In your peer group, talk about this. Talk to your teacher, कैसे ये हुआ? Why is this power sharing happening? What were the reasons why federalism came into India? What is federalism? What are the different structures in different countries? So this second reading, you need to build your conceptual clarity. You need to know the exact meaning and you need to ask questions and find answers to your questions in the textbook. One of the most beautiful things of these NCERT books is they are written in very plain, simple language. They force you to think. But sometimes we just do injustice, हमें marks चाहिए. So याद कर लो, बार-बार कोशिश करो याद करने, don't make meaning, don't understand what they are saying, just try to rote, memorize and then just fill it out in the exam. I'm telling you, this is a much easier thing to get marks as compared to rote learning. You will have to remember also. See, remember करके बिना कुछ नहीं होगा. But if you understand, the remembering part will become very easy. Because you understand. फिर exact चीजें याद नहीं करनी पड़ेंगी. You won't have to remember the exact words. Because now you understand what is happening. Consider the example of definition of federalism. Power sharing between the two vertical centers, the union and the states. Now if you are in the exam, you are remembering power sharing between who? If you don't understand the concept, एक word, दो word भूल गए. So understanding the concept Having a conceptual clarity in the second reading is very important. You mark down the important things, you ask yourself questions, form an understanding what exactly do you make sense of. Now, the third important part, this is very important. Making notes. See, in the second part, when you have understood the concepts, if you read 15 days or say 7 days after, for example, you have read polity today, then on the next Sunday you are again reading polity, or say on Friday you are reading polity, in between you have read different subjects. So again, would you sit and make, what do you understand of that concept? दोबारा से book खोल के वही understanding वाली चीज you will have to repeat. So what you do is, when you are forming a certain understanding, you are understanding things, you should write down as notes. And this most preferably should be your own language. See, this is making notes this will help you in future when you revise. So मैं अपने future me को I will give a lesson that this is what I was trying to explain. So when you are reading it here, when you are forming your clarity, write down, scribble down certain notes that this is what I understood. So when the future you will read this after 7 days, you don't have to go through the whole process again. वो मेरे को repeat नहीं करना पड़ेगा. And how do you do this? You write it in your own language. Just do not copy from the book, because again you will have to make meaning out of it. Copying from same words in the book, again you will have to derive the meaning. यहाँ पे आपने clarity जब बना ली, आपको कुछ समझ आया, तो वो जो समझ आया वो लिखो. Whatever you have understood, write down it on a piece of paper, or have certain consolidated notes on small chits. In whatever form you want, this is your decision. But you have to write it down somewhere, because the future you, जो मैं 7 दिन बाद आने वाला हूं, मेरे को ये चीजें दोबारा कम टाइम में करनी है. I have to do this in lesser time. If in the first reading I took 2 hours for one subject, this own language, my notes will give me in half an hour only. Do we make detailed notes? See, this is again a personal choice, how you understand, and you don't have to miss out anything. 2 things, detailed notes in your own language, plus don't miss out any part. So the question I have here is, do we have to make detailed notes? See, that is based on your understanding. किसी को फेडरलिज्म 2 वर्ड में समझ आ गया, किसी को फेडरलिज्म 20 वर्ड में समझ आया, because I am making it in my own language. जिस हिसाब से समझ आया. In whatever way you make sense of that term, you write it down on the piece of paper. Second thing you need to keep in mind, you don't have to miss out any information. कोई concept, कोई definition, certain facts, like which all countries have this form of federalism. There would be certain examples. You should write down those examples. Understand your future you. आपको 1 हफ्ते बाद जो रिवाइज करना है, तो first time you will revise, you will take half hour. उसके बाद it will take 20 minutes. So this जो ये मेहनत हुई है यहाँ पे, this hard work what you have done here is being reduced through these notes. Another thing which you can do here is be creative. Use flow charts. Use the small short forms, mnemonics जिनको बोलते हैं. हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी बहुत अच्छा करते हैं ये. Whenever he announces a scheme, it's a very small name. उदय, उन्नत. He uses very small terms. उनका नाम बड़ा खुल के आता है कुछ. So he's made it easier for him to remember. This is what you can do. So if you're trying to remember 4 or 5 points in power sharing, that 4 or 5 points, what are the benefits? You just have a mnemonic. Form short forms with your own meanings. Use flow diagrams. For example, you have a chapter on resources. So whatever type of resources, form a diagram like this. Use diagrams like this, write certain things, the benefits here. In your own language, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Understand the basic essence of making notes is that this understanding whatever hard work you had done here should not have to be replicated again. This should have been made easier. In the future when you revise, when you try to recall, this should have been in a lesser time. वो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग वाली साइकिल आपको जो समझ आया वो आपने लिख लिया. So when you are revising it after like 15-20 days, it is stored there. You don't have to come to the book again and make an understanding again. Notes are the best form to help you revise. And when you write it in your own language, this shows how much you have understood. See, this is one thing which we say, this is very famous, that if you can't explain it in simple terms, that means you have not understood. आप किसी चीज को अगर आप easy terms में नहीं समझा सकते किसी को, इसका मतलब आप खुद ही नहीं समझे हो. So when you yourself are reading it after 7 years, आपको खुद को ही समझाना है 7 दिन बाद. So that is why I say use your own language, make sense of it. In very simpler terms, tell yourself after 7 days when you are going to read, you are going to understand what you did in the first term. So use a very simple language and in your own language. Use diagrams, flow charts, short forms, draw certain small maps if you like. Geography ka, if you want to understand where rice is grown, just draw a map of India on your sheet, or if you don't want to draw a map, you have 1 rupee physical maps which are available in the market. वो maps खरीद के ले आओ 30-40. Mark on those maps and keep it for your reference. Again when you are revising, again try to mark on your map. It will help you practice. You will remember through map exercise. Most of the time when we do maps is what we do. We see the picture and we try to see the picture and memorize it. Why not practice that picture on a map? Get that 1 rupee physical map, get the 30-40 maps and practice the map regions on that map. Practice it for 3-4 times. Now the next thing what we do after note making is you need to practice. Now how do you know whatever you have understood is correct or wrong? इसको बंद करना एक बार. How do you know that whatever you have understood, whatever is in your notes and whatever you are revising, is it right or wrong? How do you know that? That whatever I have understood or whatever I have remembered, see these both things, understanding plus note making will also help you remember facts. समझ भी आ रहा है और उसको याद भी रखना है. How do you know that you've remembered the right thing, you've understood the right thing? You need to practice 3 different things here. First, you solve the back chapter exercise. This is the first demand which you have to fulfill. मैंने जब चैप्टर पढ़ा, नोट्स बनाए, कुछ समझा, तो मेरे को जो पीछे चैप्टर के एक्सरसाइज थे वो तो सॉल्व होना चाहिए उससे. So whatever I have learned, whatever I have remembered, whatever I have understood, I should have been able to solve the back chapter exercise. There are certain MCQs given, there are certain questions given. So you should be able to answer those. Answer the MCQs. This is what you practice. This is the first level of practice you do. Then second, you do the past year CBSE papers. Now in this case slightly I know it is difficult because past year the pattern was different, but still you had 1 marker questions. जिसका MCQ वाला part था वो practice कर लो. Because now the pattern has changed and you will not be getting the complete paper in one go. Now you will have 2 terms. So practice the MCQ questions of those past year papers. There are 2 things. One, see, practice say everything is you are testing yourself. You are testing yourself both on if you have understood it correctly, and second, if you remember it. दो चीजें हो रही है यहां पर. Why are we practicing? We are testing ourselves. Okay, if I have understood the concept properly, if the understanding is clear or not, and secondly, if I remember it also. समझ आ गया पर याद नहीं आ रहा था क्या. If you ask me today, I know a lot of things about polity, but if you just, I understand a lot of concepts, but if you ask me the exact definitions or want to give me something, एकदम से नहीं होगा. I have to revise and test. Understanding is there, but sometimes you cannot recall the fact. समझ आती हैं चीजें हैं क्या, but याद नहीं आती था क्या exactly. समझ में आता है कि हो क्या रहा है. You understood, you have conceptual clarity on federalism, but since you are reading so many subjects, वो याद नहीं आता exactly क्या था. And if you have an MCQ, you have to, you can say difficult, confusing options, you can fumble. So one thing which you are doing is practicing testing yourself. Previous year past papers, the CBSE papers, they also help you identify the important portions. They help you identify what exactly they are asking. On what lines should I be reading? मैंने एक understanding बनाई. This is what I have understood. These are my notes. Now, are these notes helpful in solving the questions? Am I doing the important parts, or I have covered all the syllabus and I have missed out certain important parts? ऊपर से सब कर लिया. But certain information is missing. So you need to identify the important parts and also see if these things are helping you solve the questions or not. So previous year past papers give you a direction. Identify ये चीजें important हैं जो आपको नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए थी. This will provide completeness. How do we remember dates in history? See, first is if you are able to make sense of the events. जब एक स्टोरी लाइन बनता है, पहले ये हुआ ये हुआ ये हुआ, there's a story line which you will form when you write the notes. Then I'll show you, when we discuss history, then I'll show you certain note making, certain tricks which will help you remember the dates. This will come into detail, but first is you make sense of what is happening. Understanding बनाओ, notes बनाओ, फिर वो learning वाला notes को बार बार पढ़ने से आता है. And if you have certain flow charts and everything, इससे pictographical memory बनती है. One thing is कि आप written form में, थोड़ा diagram form में आता है तो mind remembers the diagram. थोड़ी monotony भी break होती है उससे. So this previous year past papers will give you direction. You will identify the important parts, what is happening, what you need to focus more on, from where the questions can come. Have you completely understood those concepts? Have you completely put them in your notes? Completeness, giving a direction. Now the third is you practice a test series. Now see, these back exercise and past year CBSE papers, they will give you just few questions. They are not going to cover the complete syllabus in a comprehensive manner. This how will we do this? This will happen with a test series. A test series, or you can say like we are starting that crash course, that will give you the most important things which should not have been missed out, and you practice on those things again and again. You get certain number of practice tests which will help you prepare those portions. Now there are various things which are helpful in this, in a test series. See, you can get different types of questions. For example, match the following. For example, questions on who said what in history. For example, geography map, different map locations. Match the following, definition type questions, different formats, like there are 3 options given and then you have to choose out in different options. 1 and 2 is correct, 2 and 3 is correct, 1, 2, 3 all are correct. So this test series will help you solve different type of questions. Again, this is why test series is helpful, is because these are very less. पैक्ड चैप्टर एक्सरसाइज एंड पास्ट ईयर सीबीएसई, द सैंपल साइज इज वेरी स्मॉल, बहुत कम क्वेश्चन मिलेंगे प्रैक्टिस के लिए, एंड यू कैन नॉट प्रैक्टिस देम एंड अगेन. So you need a bigger subset of questions to test whether you have understood it correctly and you also remember it. Now this understanding is being checked in different formats. ये type of questions यही तो check कर रहा है आपको, different definitions, different English language use करके कि are you understanding the thing or not. It is helping you solve, decode the language. Sometimes the language of the question is difficult. MCQ of social sciences are difficult to attempt because this is the reason why, because we are always focused on learning things and not understanding them. वो difficult इसलिए हो जाते हैं, tough हो जाते हैं because आप चीजें याद करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, आप उनको समझने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे हो. The moment you are having a conceptual clarity and the moment you have ready notes to revise, they will not be difficult to attempt. आप उनको समझने की कोशिश करो. What exactly is happening? Talk about these concepts with your peer group. दोस्तों से बात करोगे कि आपको फेडरलिज्म से क्या समझ आया, पावर शेयरिंग से क्या समझ आया, इकोनॉमी में डेवलपमेंट क्या है, why is development different from different people. This is what the NCERT explains. Talk about these concepts with your friends, build that conceptual clarity. Now the second part is also you need to understand, you need to make sense of the question. Test series will not only ask you different type of questions but will also help you understand कि क्या क्या different word types पूछ सकते हैं. थोड़ा इंग्लिश में ग्रामर इधर उधर हिला के थोड़ा सा एक डिफिकल्ट वर्ड यूज करके दे कैन पुट डाउन अ क्वेश्चन टू यू, सो यू शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट. यू कैन ऑल्सो प्रैक्टिस एलिमिनेटिंग ऑप्शंस. एक स्किल होता है एमसीक्यू करने का. समटाइम्स यू डोंट रिमेंबर द एग्जैक्ट आंसर बट यू नो व्हाट इज रॉन्ग. This happens a lot in social sciences because there are so many things you have to remember and also understand. You don't remember what exactly it was, but you remember what it is not. मुझे ये पता है कि ये चीजें तो नहीं होती हैं, ये याद नहीं है exactly क्या होता है. So this you practice while solving questions. You try to eliminate options when you don't know the exact answer. Another thing which helps in this practice is you are mindfully, carefully reading the options. A lot of time happens, what happens in the exam is we are in this state of anxiety. थोड़ा डर लग रहा होता है और एकदम से काफी सारा पढ़ना है, बोर्ड एग्जाम साल में एक बार, अच्छे मार्क्स लाने हैं, there's so much pressure. So the moment you read the question, you are just habda dabdi mein, you want to answer everything. And since you don't have to write in this exam, you just have to solve MCQs. There's another chance that your anxiety overpowers you and you try to solve the questions very quickly. बहुत जल्दी जल्दी आंसर सॉल्व करने लगते हैं हम. जो डर लग रहा होता है, एकदम से ये होता है कि जल्दी सॉल्व हो जाए तो थोड़ा सा सुकून मिलेगा. And in that jaldbazi, in that habda dabdi, whatever the word is, then that anxiety, you pick out the wrong answer. You don't read the options carefully because you want to solve them so quickly. You want to get away with the paper कि जल्दी पेपर खत्म हो हम बाहर निकले. You don't read the options, and without practice this anxiety doubles. See, this whole idea of practice of testing yourself is to reduce your anxiety. We are reducing the anxiety and we are building confidence. Right now there was a question put up in the chat that why are social sciences questions difficult to attempt? Because you've never attempted them. Once you were trying to rote learn everything, which is difficult, you are not making notes, वो book से बार बार पढ़ रहे हैं, हर बार उतना टाइम लग रहा है और हर बार we are saying having the same complaint कि याद नहीं हो रहा. अरे आप समझने की कोशिश करो, उनको अपने वर्ड्स में लिखो. याद तब होगा जब आपको समझ अच्छे से आएगा. You have to reduce your effort in the second, third, fourth revision attempt. सेम बुक सेम चीज पढ़ोगे, स्टार्टिंग के 2 पेजेस अच्छे से पढ़े जाते हैं, थर्ड पेज पे वो फिर ढीले, और फिर वो याद नहीं हो रहा है, फिर दिमाग थक जाता है, फिर लगता है एसएसटी क्या सब्जेक्ट है, सोशल साइंस. Because in the first attempt when you were understanding, you did not make the efforts then. So when you are reading the book again and again, you will have that lethargy. You have that energy to read the subject. फिर जो पहले 2 पेज पढ़ने के बाद वो एनर्जी भी डाउन जाती है कि इतना सारा याद करने को याद ही नहीं हो रहा है कुछ. पहले 2 पेजेस बहुत अच्छे से याद हो जाते हैं क्योंकि सबसे ज्यादा एनर्जी उन्हीं टाइम होती है. So try to understand, try to make notes, then practice. This is just to reduce your anxiety and build your confidence. Yes, I have understood them correctly. Yes, I am able to solve. Then you will not be asking this question, they are tough to attempt. When you follow such a pattern, these will not be tough to attempt. When you try and make sense of what exactly is happening, write down in your own words and then solve papers, try to understand what different type of questions can be asked. अलग-अलग language में कुछ पूछा जाता है तो sometimes they will ask you the definition, sometimes they will give you the definition and put it in options, sometimes they will ask you match the following, sometimes they will say what is the arrange in chronology order, ये कौन सा event कब हुआ था, arrange the cities in north to south. So various type of questions, playing with language. And also you need to learn this. This is very important. In the exam, we are in a hurry to get away with it. We just see what exactly मिलता जुलता लग रहा है, mark करो, आगे चलो. Very mindfully, very carefully read the options. And this is everything you practice in the test series. This is you practice on any of the tests you solve. When you get the marks, then you know, हाँ यार ये गलती हो गई, जल्दबाजी में की. There are 3 to 4 type of mistakes which you yourself will make sense of. कि ये तो मुझे समझ ही गलत आया हुआ था, ये मुझे याद ही नहीं आया. और थर्ड, ये जल्दबाजी में गलती, लापरवाही मिस्टेक, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट, not reading it completely. Sometimes you can't comprehend what the question is asking. ये भी कई बार होता है कि मुझे समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था exactly question ने पूछा क्या था, तो मेरे से ऑप्शन बी की जगह सी मार्क हो गया. Practice all these things. This will help you get clear in your mind कि मुझे कॉन्सेप्ट सही पता है, मुझे याद है, मैं आराम से पेपर सॉल्व कर रहा हूं. See, this thing which we never got it in our times. तो सीधा ही होता था कि बोर्ड के मार्क्स है, यार मेरे मार्क्स कैसे कम आए. हमेशा पेपर का रिजल्ट आता था, देयर वुड बी सर्टेन ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल, इवन मी इन सर्टेन सब्जेक्ट्स, आई डिड नॉट स्कोर वेरी गुड इन मैथ्स, आई वाज एक्सपेक्टिंग 100 on 100, आई गॉट 90. आई वाज लाइक मेरे क्यों आए? बिकॉज वी नेवर गॉट द चांस टू प्रैक्टिस. वी नेवर न्यू व्हाट ऑल काइंड ऑफ मिस्टेक्स वी कुड डू. हमने अपने आप को टेस्ट ही नहीं किया था इतनी बार. सो वी वर नॉट श्योर ऑफ आवर मिस्टेक्स. फाइनल धक्का लगता है पेपर के रिजल्ट पे, ये एग्जाम से निकलते टाइम ही पता चल जाता, शिट ये गलत कर दिया. सो प्रैक्टिस इन द एग्जाम एनवायरनमेंट बिफोर हैंड. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्टेप. दिस विल मेक सेंस ऑफ एवरीथिंग व्हाट यू हैव डन. Whether you know the complete syllabus, because your test will be covering the complete syllabus. Whether you are understanding the concept, whether you are remembering it correctly, that will be done in the test. If you have made notes, again remembering is easy, understanding is easy. ज़्यादा questions हो जाएंगे. You'll get a good score. It will lessen the pressure in the final day. So a lot of things are being solved through these previous year papers. So this is the broader framework which you should follow. Try this for a few days. Try it for a small concept. I'm not saying it will have certain tailoring. अपने हिसाब से थोड़ी बहुत चीजें इसमें change कर लो. Try this on few concepts. Try this with few chapters. Try this with on one subject. Share your plan with your friends and see how it works. Now let's get into the subjects. We can discuss about certain subjects. I'll help you familiarize with what the syllabus is, what exactly you need to remember and do certain things. We will see few questions what exactly can be asked in different subjects. I hope you don't have any specific doubts up till here. प्रोजेक्टर चलो. इन टाइम इमेमोरियल इस सब्जेक्ट के साथ इनजस्टिस ही होता है, एंड पीपल रियलाइज दिस व्हेन द ट्रेन इज फार गॉन. फिर वही दोबारा एनसीईआरटी पढ़नी, फिर मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा है ये इकोनॉमी में क्यों हो रहा है. पीपल आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इन्फ्लेशन या पीपल आर टॉकिंग अबाउट जीडीपी. व्हाट इज जीडीपी? ये भूल गए कि क्लास 10th में ही पढ़ा था जीडीपी क्या है, डेवलपमेंट क्या है. उस टाइम पे सिर्फ आंसर लिखना था एंड मार्क्स लाने थे. वहीं पे अगर हमने समझ लिया होता तो आज लाइफ में काफी सारी चीजें समझ आ रही होती. Your interview would have been easier, your essay you would have to write, that would become easier. प्लस थोड़ा पर्सनालिटी में भी कॉन्फिडेंस आता कि हाँ मुझे चीजें पता है. 4 लोगों में बैठ के, अब देयर इज सो मच ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन शेयरिंग ऑन योर सोशल मीडिया, ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, ऑन फेसबुक, व्हाट्सएप. नोबडी नोज व्हाट इज राइट और रॉन्ग. बहुत फेक न्यूज भी आती है. बट इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड कॉन्सेप्ट्स, इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज इन सोशल साइंसेज एंड क्या हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा भी समझ है, यू वुड बी एबल टू बंक दैट फेक न्यूज. So there's a lot of practical aspects to this subject, a very beautiful subject. So first, let's discuss about polity. So in the term 1, you will be getting 2 chapters. One is your power sharing and the other is your federalism. So there are 3 things. This is how you familiarize with the concepts, you familiarize with the syllabus in the first go. When you don't understand a lot about what is happening, so first you need to know कि है क्या उसमें, what exactly is being asked. Sorry, what exactly is being explained. In power sharing, you have 3 broader topics. One is you have case studies of Belgium and Sri Lanka. So the chapter starts with a very beautiful explanation on certain power sharing instruments or how their politics is conducted. Arrangements क्या हैं politics के बेल्जियम में, arrangements क्या हैं श्रीलंका में. There are different type of populations in both these nations. So what exactly is happening in Belgium, what is happening in Sri Lanka, and how they are different. So with a story, with a real life example of 2 different states, they are trying to tell you different power sharing structures. Now this will help you understand why power sharing is important or it is desirable. Significance of power sharing is being explained after that. So once you are familiar with the concepts of power sharing through these stories, exactly हम करने क्या वाले हैं. The first example that they have explained, that is building a base, that is building your context, that what this chapter is will go. In what direction will this go? That there is certain population, ऐसे वो governance हो रही है वहाँ पे, ऐसे उनकी politics चलती है. There are these systems in this country. There are Tamil speaking people, there are Sinhalese people. This Sinhalese people have taken over the government. There are other different type of structures in Belgium, different groups of people. So you try to understand the context. Okay, yes, we are talking about a certain context where there are groups of people in a country and how power is given to all or how power is shared among them. And why this power sharing is significant. Now related to your current also, understanding अभी भी देखो कि न्यूज़ पढ़ रहे हो या आसपास देख रहे हो कि certain people are demanding reservations or certain people are doing politics of their groups. Then you will understand कि देखो यहाँ पे भी power sharing कुछ हमारी country में भी similar lines पे कुछ चल रहा है. This will help you form the basis के exactly होना क्या चाहिए. Why do we need it? If this is a system, what will happen? If this is a system, what will happen? What are the different forms of power sharing? Again telling you कि क्या क्या types हो सकते हैं. Again you can see in our own context कि क्या हो रहा है बाहर. This is very interesting because it makes sense of what is happening around you. Social sciences will always help you make sense of what is happening around you. You can always find examples to relate, understand things in your world. But here these are the 3 different subheads which has been explained in this chapter. Then there's federalism. the division of powers between the union, the central government and the state governments. What exactly is federalism? What makes India a federal country? What are the different forms of structures we have built which make us a federal country? How is federalism practiced and decentralization in India at the rural and the urban level? Broadly, this is your syllabus for polity. Now, more we'll understand when we see certain type of questions. Now see, this is one type of question which directly tests your understanding. There are some questions which will test your remembering of facts. There are some questions which will test your understanding. कि आपको वो चीज समझ कितने अच्छे से आई है. Now, what are the features common to Indian and Belgian form of power sharing agreements? Similarities between India and Belgium. We've seen in the syllabus, in the chapter, they've explained Belgium, Sri Lanka, and then they've talked about India's power sharing agreements. So they have interlinked both the stories which were mentioned, and they are asking a 3-4 statement type of questions. Again, this is a type of question which can be asked. They've given you 4 statements, 4 features which are common. Power is shared among governments at different levels. Power shared among different organs of government. Power is shared among different social groups. Power is shared among different parties and takes form of competition. And the question is asking you, India और Belgium दोनों में common क्या है? What exactly are the common features of India and Belgium power structure? Then you have options 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 3, 1 and 3, 4. Now this is a certain type of complex question. Remember, I was telling you, when you practice test papers, you practice different type of questions. Some are one statement, what is power structure? ABCD में पूछ लिया. Some are these like 4 features being asked in different mix match form they have asked. And this is specifically testing your conceptual understanding. कि आपको पता है कि power sharing exactly होती कैसे है दोनों जगह पे. And what are the common features? Consider this question. The distinguishing feature of a federal government is. Now, another type of testing your understanding, but in a very simple form. A, B, C, D, they've given you 4 options. National government gives some powers to the provincial governments. Power is distributed among legislature, executive and judiciary. Elected officials exercise supreme power in the government. Government power is divided between different levels of government. Now, what is the feature of federalism? And what is our strategy when we prepare? We just remember the definition of federalism. And then we try to find the right definition here. If you understand the concept, you would know directly. ये कुछ याद नहीं, वहाँ पर effort कम लगेगा. Exactly federalism में था क्या? But if you understand, it is division of power between different layers of government. You will not be confused. Some powers between legislative, executive, judiciary, between this powers, ये confusion हट जाएगी अगर understanding होगी. This is why understanding conceptual clarity is important. If you get an answer is wrong, get a wrong answer here, then you go back to your notes, go back to the book. That why did I get this question wrong? What mistake did I make? Do I not understand what is federalism? Or there is certain problem, flawed understanding what I have done, or I have not covered the topic in my notes. I skipped that important chapter or the 2 paragraphs where the features of federalism were mentioned. This is testing whether notes are complete, whether you remember it, whether you have understood it. And you could go wrong anywhere, or whether you have made a silly mistake, you were too quick to answer. जल्दबाजी में किया. See another definition type of questions. This is the reverse. A belief that majority community should be able to rule a country in whichever way it wants, but disregarding the wishes and needs of the minority is power sharing, central government, majoritarianism, community government. Here we have reversed. Here you are asking feature of federalism. Here you have given it. You have given the definition. ये definition है किसकी? This is being asked. So when you solve different type of questions on a similar topic, your understanding improves. You come to know whether you understand it correctly or not. And this gives you confidence कि yes, CBSE बोर्ड में जब भी कैसे भी टाइप का क्वेश्चन आएगा, मेरा ये कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर है. चाहे कान ऐसे पकड़ो, घुमा के पकड़ो, कैसे पकड़ो, I understand the concept. And I have practiced it well beforehand. Your anxiety is in control. You will be very confident. There are ways of asking these questions of similar things are being asked in different formats, just to check whether you understand it or not. Again and again, I am focusing on this word of understanding. Please do not just focus on remembering facts or remembering definitions. Try to understand कि ये क्या हो रहा है, क्यों हो रहा है. One thing which we do in note making a lot is we ask ourselves a lot of questions. How do you know you've understood? You ask yourself a lot of questions. What, why, how? Then you find those answers in the book. And then you make sense, yes, ये मैंने जब what सोचा था तो मेरे को ये आंसर मिला. Why सोचा था ये आंसर मिला. Why power sharing? What is power sharing? How India is doing the power sharing in the country? Answer these questions for yourself. Make it a fun learning activity. Do not just read what is written और वो याद करने लगे power sharing होता क्या है, this is this, these are certain features, these are examples. Then you will face problems in solving questions. थोड़ा interesting करो. What is power sharing? How power sharing is done? Why? Try to analyze. Work with the book. That is why I said you start this exercise in the second or the third reading. First exercise just familiarize के है क्या क्या. हम ये देख लें बुक में लिखा क्या है, स्टोरी के मेन कंपोनेंट्स क्या हैं. Whenever you read a novel, like if you are into reading books, the first time whenever you read, you just come to know the major things what are happening. जब आप सेकेंड बार बुक पढ़ते हो तब आपको बहुत अच्छे से समझ आता है exactly what the writer is trying to say. You capture the feelings. A similar question. A system of checks and balances is another name for which of the following power sharing agreements? Power sharing arrangements में system of check balance is another name of what? See, this is again a type of asking question and is checking your understanding. That if you remember and understand what is checks and balances. दोनों चीजें साइड बाय साइड हो रही हैं. आपको याद है चेक बैलेंसेस क्या है, आपको समझ आती है वो कॉन्सेप्ट. And checks and balances is known by what other name? Power sharing among different social groups, vertical division of power shared among different levels of government, horizontal division of power or power shared among different organs of the government, power sharing in the form of political parties, pressure groups and governments. Federalism, what was federalism? What was checks and balances? There are two different terms. Federalism का क्या feature था? Checks and balances का क्या feature है? Or what exactly do we name? What is the other name of checks and balances? Understanding the concepts. Now this is an example of a question which will directly test your remembering power. There is no understanding here. ये सीधा सीधा चेक कर रहा है आप कितने अच्छे से remember कर रहे हो और recall कर रहे हो. Which among the following are examples of coming together federations? One question would have been here, if it is checking your conceptual understanding, is to ask you what exactly is coming together. What is coming together federation? But no, it is asking you what countries follow coming together. ये सीधा सीधा फैक्ट पूछ रहा है. अब इसमें कुछ समझने का नहीं है, ये तो याद ही करना पड़ेगा. What is there to understand is coming together. What do you understand by that? If the question would have been that, it is checking your conceptual clarity, it is checking your understanding. But right now here, you are just checking your remember. If you remember it correctly, you recall things or not. Facts आपने याद किए हैं कि नहीं किए हैं. So this is how you have to cover polity, familiarize. I've given you the chapters and the basic things which are there, and showed you certain examples of questions which can be asked on that. Solve the back chapter exercise. You'll come to know if you understood certain level or not. Go to the second level, see the previous year questions and see if you are able to make sense of it. आप solve कर पा रहे हो नहीं कर पा रहे हो MCQs. See there if you have covered the important topics mentioned there in the book or not. Then you practice test series. ये तो comprehensively you will do it. Now the second is your economy. There are again two chapters which will be covered in the term in this term. The first is development and the second is sectors of the Indian economy. So again, what are the important parts which have been covered in development? What development promises? Different people, different goals. So basically this is telling you that the definition of development is different for different people. You could say definition or you could say goals of development. हर कोई development का अलग मतलब समझता है. So this is the first two pages which are there trying to explain you that development for certain class of persons would be this, development for certain class of people would be this. Then we talk about the income and other goals. One thing which is often related to development, में development हो रही है country की और development, what exactly do you understand? One thing which will be always central to is money, income. वो पैसा कितना कमा रहे हैं. अपनी सोसाइटी में देख लो, हम आसपास क्या देखते हैं अपने दोस्तों में. मेरे पास कितने पैसे हैं, मेरे घर वाले मुझे कितना देते हैं, and how much others are getting. He is getting PS4, I am not getting it. I am playing a sport, different. We are buying brands of shoes. So we say that he is more developed or I am less developed. Or I am more developed, someone is less. So income is always a factor. So this is how from one individual, what are different class से लेकर, what is the factor which decides development, then you talk about the development of a country. Individual group से start कर रहे हैं, किन लोगों के लिए development क्या है. Then we talk about income being an important goal for everyone. Then we talk about total nation की development कैसे होती है. So this is slowly taking you into the macroeconomic के concepts. Concepts of economy. Economy का काम क्या है? Development is one of the major goals. So what do we understand by development? You need to know very well. Don't have to remember the definition, you have to understand also. See the world around you. See if this type of development talks are happening or not. And then on a cumulative basis, total nation की development कैसे बात होती है? We read a lot, we listen a lot. China is more developed, Pakistan is not developed, India is somewhat between, US is more developed. So what exactly is this development? On what factors are we saying it is more developed? Is money the only factor? Is income the only factor? Or there are other factors also? Education, health. So this is how economy is trying to make you understand what exactly is the concept of development. Talking about different countries or states, income, their public facilities, sustainability of development. What exactly is the sustainability of development? अब काफी बार ये भी सुनते हैं climate change हो रहा है, that there are so many things which are happening, global warming and all related concepts. So can this development, कोई एक development का path हमने choose किया है, is this sustainable or not? Can we follow this for a long time? This is sustainability. You compare different criteria पे कि income कैसे. For example, I was giving you China, India, Pakistan. तो कितना इनकम है उस हिसाब से वी कैन डिसाइड व्हाट इज डेवलपमेंट. कितनी उनकी फैसिलिटीज है, वहां पे रोड्स कैसी हैं, पानी कैसा मिल रहा है, पानी सबको मिल रहा है, बिजली, पावर, वाटर, रोड्स, हेल्थ केयर फैसिलिटी, एजुकेशन फैसिलिटीज, कंपेयर डिफरेंट कंट्रीज, चाइना में कैसी हैं, इंडिया में कैसे हैं, पाकिस्तान में कैसे हैं और यूएसए में कैसे हैं. Why are people rushing to USA and Canada? Is income higher or there are other factors also? बहुत लोग सुना होगा कि they go to America for further education. US बहुत लोग पढ़ने जाते हैं बाहर. क्यों जाते हैं? Because facilities we do not provide those services or they are better there. हमारे अच्छे colleges नहीं है, हम वहां पर ज्यादा हैं और अच्छे भी हैं हमसे ज्यादा. So can we consider that as development? So these all things, again, understand with your real life examples. See the world around you, this will make more sense. You will be able to understand what exactly the chapter is trying to say and then write it down. Make notes of these things. The second chapter is your sectors of the Indian economy. It talks about the various sectors, primary, secondary and tertiary. Certain people are involved, employed. कईयों को job मिल रही है agriculture में. They are doing farming. Some are working in a factory. Some are working in the IT sector. Different sectors. What exactly is the meaning of primary sector? If someone is farming, someone is involved in fishery, someone is involved in the milk business. Milk in the sense directly dealing with livestock. Secondary, working in factories. So how different sectors are there in the economy? What are the definitions of those? Then there is a classification of organized and unorganized sectors in that. कईयों को फिक्स सैलरी मिलती है. There are some various jobs which are fixed salaries. हर महीने के महीने there's a fixed salary. And there would be various jobs where there is daily salary, daily workers. कहीं घर बनता है तो हम there are workers working there. Do they get a fixed salary at the end of every month? या अपने फैक्ट्री में लोग देखे होंगे क्या उनको पूरे महीने एक महीने की पूरी सैलरी मिलती है और या डेली बेसिस पे मिलती है. These are factors which decide organized and unorganized. Do they get pension benefits? Do they get social security benefits? So these are things which will be talked about in the difference in these sectors. Then the ownership of these sectors, public and private sector. Some are placed with the private company. Big private companies. Amazon में job लग गई, Zomato में job लग गई. These are private companies owned by private people, and some are government jobs, public jobs. What we say, you prepare for government exams. That is, you are preparing for a job with the government sector. That is public. And certain sectors are private, which are not owned by the government, which are owned by private individuals. So this is how sectors of the economy, there is different how people are employed, what are the different working conditions. This is what you will understand in the sectors of economy. Now certain questions, let's see what type of questions can be asked in an economy. GDP stands for gross domestic product. What does it indicate? Pick up the correct statement given below. Now when we talked about development measure करने का कुछ चीज होगी. There are various ways to measure development, income and all that. वो total income कैसे measure होती है? For example, one factor which we were discussing कि states के बीच में हम देखते हैं, that is income. तो income कैसे measure होती है? How do we measure income? This is one of the factors. GDP is one of the factors to measure the total income of the country. So the question is, give us the definition of GDP. What exactly is GDP? What does it indicate? Size of an economy in a given year in terms of its total output. Total product in given year without counting country's resources. Shows number of people involved in different production activities in a particular year. Total value of a trade of a country in a particular year. So to calculate that, that is the first economy of a country in a given terms in total output. Gross domestic product, sorry. This is the total output of an economy. कितना total produce किया उस economy ने? Different economies produce differently. So you compare the GDPs of the countries, you can get one factor of development. This is not the only factor, there is one factor. So if you understand the concept, you get the definition correct. This is again based on understanding and remembering. Conceptual clarity is important here. See another type of question. Money cannot buy all the goods and services that are required, need to have a good quality of life. A list of things required for a good quality of life is given below. Which among the following cannot be bought by spending the money? Sorry. So you see there the question is asking money cannot buy all the goods. A list of things required for a gift given below are this. This is a list of goods which money can buy or not buy. अब इसमें ये पूछा है कि आपको कौन सी चीज मनी से नहीं खरीद पाओगे. This is list of things required for a good life. See again, this question slightly complex. You need to be carefully read the question, mindfully read the question. Full protection from infectious disease, high quality education, luxury home, pollution free atmosphere in every part of the country. Money से आप क्या नहीं खरीद सकते? See again, this is not exactly checking your remembering skills. जो हम learn करते हैं, this is checking your understanding. कि आपने डेवलपमेंट से क्या समझा था, गुड लाइफ से क्या आपको क्या लगा, एंड देन मनी कैन बाय वॉट एवर गुड थिंग्स और नॉट, दीज थिंग्स और नॉट, हाउ वी मेजर द टोटल आउटपुट. 1 2 2 3 1 2 3 1 and 4. Only when you understand the concept of GDP you will be able to solve this question. You understand how money is used in an economy. The first thing which we discussed in development was that development for different people is different. Different goals of development people have. Now the question is asking, what are the aspirations of an educated urban unemployed youth? पढ़े लिखे बेरोजगार आदमी को क्या चाहिए? Educated but unemployed youth. What will his aspiration be? What will his developmental goal be? Now, I mentioned one thing in practice of test is you decode the question. Now the question is aspirations. NCERT बताता है goals of development. This is what aspirations are. थोड़े बहुत words twist करके भी question पूछे जाएंगे. You have to understand the meaning कि exactly what the question is asking. वहां पे जाके ये नहीं सोचना कि developmental goal क्या था, एकदम aspiration पूछ लिया. This is why we practice these things beforehand. I've learned developmental goals, aspirations. You might get confused कि ये दो words अलग हैं, क्या इनका meaning हो सकता है कि नहीं. See, I'm talking for the larger public. Not everybody can make sense of these words in the first go. So the test series helps you decode the meaning of this, understand, and then you be confident while you are there in the exam. अगर ये beforehand practice हो जाएगी इन चीजों की, you will be more confident there. An educated urban and unemployed youth will aspire for better opportunities for living in agriculture, requires support from government at every step in life for his upward movement. Urban educated will aspire for decent job opportunities where education can be made use of for betterment of himself and his society. He aspires for better facilities of recreation for his leisure time. तो exactly क्या चाहिए उनको? उनको ये चाहिए कि जहाँ education काम आ जाए और job मिल जाए. Or they want recreation facility for leisure time. खाली time में कुछ game का कुछ मिल जाए. So this is again testing understanding. Exactly what do they want and what the purpose it's being fulfilled. Which of the following examples do not fall under the unorganized sector in the economy? Coming back to the remembering, rote learning and understanding. See, if you are just remembering the facts, what would you do in the approach is कि मैं organized sector के example याद करूंगा, unorganized sector के example याद करूंगा, and then try to recall कि exactly किसका example क्या था. This is a normal strategy we follow. You just remember the examples of organized, remember the examples of unorganized, and then try to recall it in the exam. But if you understand the meaning of this, एग्जैक्टली अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर का मतलब क्या होता है, व्हाट आर द एक्टिविटीज, और एनी फॉर्म से आपको कुछ समझ आया कि अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर, इन योर ओन लैंग्वेज यू हैड रिटन डाउन इन द नोट्स दैट दिस इज द अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर. If you know what is unorganized sector, you would not have to remember exactly the different examples. अब सीधा यहाँ पे you will apply your mind. Understand के बाद is your application. And application is tested in the questions. Whether you are able to apply those understood things or not. See, this is more applicable for writing answers. When you write, वहां पे आपका expression और application दिखता है, यहां पे वो चीज आपको already दी हुई है. The answer is in front of you. You just have to pick the right one. When you are writing answers, ये application वहां दिखती है. When you have to write 10 words, 20 words, 30 words, 50 answers, your application and expression of what you have understood comes out there. But when you are solving MCQs, which the pattern is right now, the answer is in front of you. सबसे अच्छी बात तो यही है कि answer is in front of me. I just have to pick the right one. So if I understand, my application is very easy. सिर्फ एक option ही तो उठाना इन चार में से. I just have to mark the right answer. I don't have to write completely what I understand. Choose one correct statement from the following. Underemployment occurs when people are not willing to work, when people are working very slowly, when people are working less than their capacity, when people are working but not paid for their jobs. This is understanding the definition. This is just giving you the definition, but asking you in a slightly modified form. Occurs when. Unemployment exactly है क्या? Sorry, this is underemployment. Sorry. Reading the question carefully. मैंने ही जल्दबाजी में ढंग से नहीं पढ़ा. This can happen in the exam also. ये underemployment, unemployment पढ़ा जा सकता है जल्दी में. This is what mistake I did. And this you don't have to do. And for this you need to practice. You need to read the question very carefully. The second time I read, I came to know that I made a mistake. When people are not willing to work, when people are working slowly, and so you just pick the right answer. Let's move on to the next. The next section is history. One of the questions you would ask is, how do you remember dates? See, history is one interesting subject in the sense that nothing much is there to understand here. History is mostly in the form of storytelling. They are telling you certain things which happened in the past. This happened in France. Nation states were being built. Nation states हैं क्या? When it is coming for the first time, you need to know what exactly is happening. What happened in Italy? What happened in Germany? So you're just trying to know exactly what is happening and why they are happening. You're making sense of this story of what is happening and why it is happening. They will also explain you what this thing happened in French Revolution because there was certain people, sections of the society which were not happy with the government, which were not happy with the king. Napoleon was trying to do this. तो कोई भी event हुआ उसका कुछ reason होता है. There are few things which you need to prepare well in history is you need to be conscious of the various events which are happening. For example, there are certain war. There are certain treaties which are signed. You need to be conscious of different personalities. Napoleon, why was he doing certain things? What were the different steps being taken by him? Why did he take those steps? So there are a lot of personality based questions also. You can also get questions on what exactly certain personality said. They'll give you the phrase and they will ask you who said this. So focus, try to remember it through events, try to remember it through personalities. Uske around notes banao. So if there's an event which happened, try to know why it happened. What exactly was the consequence? Who were the major players? Try to write about personalities. Try to write about Napoleon. Napoleon, and mention 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That what exactly he was doing. Event को comprehensively cover करो. And another thing which you can improvise to remember dates and everything, try and form a timeline. Notes में timeline बनाओ. Right here, 19 say for example 47 something happened, 1951 this happened, 1953 this happened, 54 this happened. This I am just giving you an example. Whatever dates, important dates you have, you try to form a timeline, write the event, what was happening. For example, Treaty of Versailles was being formed here, Treaty of Sevres, anything could be any event. Important events के लिए you can create a timeline, and see this timeline में you can create mnemonics. कोई भी निमोनिक अपना बनाओ, याद करो उसी को. Improvise here. यहाँ पे nobody can tell you what exactly mnemonic will happen. वो आपको खुद बनाना पड़ेगा. Ask your friends what mnemonic they have prepared for this. Exactly 1830 से लेकर 1870 जो भी इवेंट्स हुए, you have written it. Try to do it 4 by 4 years, 4 events, because that will be easier to remember. Then form mnemonics of that. VS, DT or whatever mnemonic you can form. Pictoric, this picture representation helps the mind remember. कि ये इवेंट यहाँ लिखा था. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू डोंट रिमेंबर एग्जैक्टली, यू वुड नो कि जो V वाला इवेंट था वो इधर लिखा हुआ था पेपर पे, शीट में मेरी. D वाला इवेंट इधर लिखा हुआ था, V वाला शायद D से पहले ही हुआ था. मे बी दिस ट्रीटी ऑफ वर्साइल वाज साइंड बिफोर दैट ट्रीटी ऑफ व्हाटएवर D वी आर टॉकिंग हियर. पिक्चर देख के याद हो जाता है कि पेज पे हमने V पहले लिखा था, D बाद में लिखा था, और दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच वाज हैपनिंग इन सर्टेन ऑर्डर. यू कैन do these improvisations. Remember it around personalities, remember it around events. This will help you make your history interesting. Otherwise history seems a story bombarded with facts. मुझे बहुत सारा कुछ बता दिया, इतना सारा मैं कैसे प्रोसेस करूं? And then you are asking me difficult questions on that. Try to break it into parts, break it into events. French Revolution, an idea of nation. What exactly was the nation being formed? Why it formed? What was happening in French Revolution? What is nationalism? The making of nationalism in Europe, the different revolutions happening. Break all these things into different parts. Forms on one page, try to have notes on these events, whatever is mentioned in the book. Make the process more interesting, and then you'll be able to solve all the questions. These type of questions: which of the following treaty recognized Greece as an independent nation? Treaty of Sevres, Versailles, Treaty of Lausanne, Treaty of Constantinople. Prepare around events, and then you will not be facing a problem. ये सारे एक जैसे नहीं लगेंगे. But this is a simple fact-based question, just testing your recall ability, remembering ability. Nationalism, which emerged as a force in the late century, means. They're asking you whatever national state or nationalism का मतलब क्या है जो बना था this during this time. What exactly was the meaning of the term? They can also ask you causes of certain things in history. Okay, why did this certain thing happened? A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3. Pick the right statement. So events comprehensively can be asked on the causes, reasons, but definitions also of certain terms which were introduced then. Nationalism जो उस टाइम हो रहा था वो था क्या? This is taking your conceptual understanding, that if you understood the story, that what exactly was happening and what was this feeling of nationalism that came up. This is not checking any facts. Fact यहाँ check हुआ था कि कितना याद है. यहाँ nationalism समझ के आता है आपको. Nationalism से do you remember what was nationalism? If you understood, then only you can do this. A complex question. Which of the following statements about French Revolution are correct? You prepare an event, French Revolution, all the facts related to it. They've asked 4 things. After the end of revolution, it proclaimed it was the people who would henceforth constitute the nation and shape its destiny. France will have a constitutional monarchy and the new republic will be headed by a member of the royal family. Centralized administrative system will be put. Imposition of industrial custom duties and dues will continue to exist in France. So 4 features of the French Revolution are being asked here. Prepare the event in notes, you will be able to solve the questions very easily. And in these type of questions also you can practice elimination. That if you don't remember all the features, if you know this just did not happen. For example, I am just giving you an example, not in context of this specific हुआ था या नहीं हुआ था. For example, this is wrong, so eliminate 4. आपको 4 में से एक भी पता चला तो try to eliminate. For example, you came to know 1 is wrong, eliminate this. You came to know 4 is wrong, eliminate this. Sometimes elimination can give you the answer in complex questions. In ABCD it's difficult, but here it will help you do that. ये ABCD में तो 4 में से 3 एलिमिनेट करने पड़ेंगे, यहाँ तो क्या पता एक स्टेटमेंट से 2 ऑप्शन एलिमिनेट हो जाए. वहां तो you will have to eliminate, if it is an ABCD question, you will have to eliminate 3 to get the answer. Here, what if C4 was not correct, so you eliminated 2. अगर 3 not correct पता होता आपको, I'm just taking an example that 3 is not correct, so 3 से there are 3 options which are eliminating and you have only one answer. So just knowing one thing, you could solve the question. So you practice these things in the tests. Another type of question, choose the correctly matched pair from the following. Checking your facts. Which personality was belonging to which country? Bismarck, Germany, Napoleon, Spain, Garibaldi, France, and Bourbon Kings, Italy. You pick the right one. Zollverein, formed by Prussia and joined by many of the German states, was German army, German police, custom union, trade union. If you understand the concepts like nationalism, what was nationalism? Or Zollverein, what is Zollverein? So if you understand them correctly, you don't have to pressurize your mind to recall exactly that. Understand the concepts and things will be easy. History में भी काफी concepts understanding के हैं. And what was the reason why it was happening? We come to the next portion, that is geography. The last section. You have 3 chapters here. 1, resources and development. These are the different things which are covered here. What are the different types of resources? How are different resources being developed? Development of resources. Planning of resource in India. Land resource and land utilization. Land use pattern in India. Land degradation, conservation measures, soil as a resource, classification of soils, soil erosion and soil conservation. So the first time when you are familiarizing with the concept, you read the syllabus, you come to know the important topics which are being covered. The topics in detail. Then water sources. So this is primarily you will be asked map based questions. Internal assessment mein the theoretical part will be covered, but in your final 40 mark paper which will come, you will be asked map based questions. This is mentioned in your syllabus. Agriculture, types of farming, cropping pattern, major crops, technological and institutional reforms, impact of globalization of agriculture. All the information regarding different types of farming. इंडिया में कितने क्रॉप्स हैं, क्रॉपिंग पैटर्न क्या है इंडिया में, व्हाट आर द मेजर क्रॉप्स व्हिच आर ग्रोन इन इंडिया. Based on this, questions will ask. Second one of the sections would be your map based work. See, this is geography is both about again analytical concepts, because here you will have a lot of understanding to do. So what exactly is the soil type, or what exactly is the, and what exactly can we do in that soil type? You need to understand that, and then you will have a link with what are the cropping pattern. Cropping pattern is linked with soil. For example, cotton is grown in few areas only where there is black soil. ये दोनों चीजें linked हैं. What type of soil is required for rice and wheat? If you remember the soil quality and what it offers, you will come to know that cropping pattern उसको follow करता है. So you have to draw linkages also. You have to interrelate between the two. You also have certain map work for this section, but map is only for geography, not for history and other portions. In this term, you just have map for geography. Resources and development में you have maps for major soil types. The different soil types occurring in different parts of the country. Red and yellow soil कहाँ है, black soil कहाँ है, alluvial soil कहाँ पर है, laterite soil कहाँ है. So different categories of soil where they are found. Water resources में there are few dams which can be asked. You have to mark them on the map location. Agriculture, you have to mark the major areas of rice and wheat, and large and major producers of sugarcane, tea, coffee, rubber, cotton and jute. These plantation crops ka bhi you have to remember the major states. Now, how do you do it for this maps is, how do you practice map work? First, you have all the maps in front of you. For example, you are marking the major soil types. I've given you example earlier. You bring those 1 rupee physical maps of India. Sorry for my diagram. I'm not a very good, I can draw, it's not a very good quality of mine. So, इसको आप map को लेके and practice this in map. Practice, for example, mark the Bakra Nangal, mark the Salal Dam, mark the Tehri Dam, and practice these maps again and again. Practice this 10 to 12 times. Practice this on 10 to 12 maps. Similarly, major soil types. You can have one map for red soil. यहाँ पे mark, जहाँ पे red soil है वहाँ mark कर लो areas, and practice this again and again on different maps. Map work, you cannot just look at the maps and remember exactly क्या क्या किसका था. Until and unless you practice on these maps, or if you draw diagrams in your notebook again and again, you will not be able to recall. You will not be able to mark. So you need to practice this on the physical map of India and practice this many times. Then only it will be stored. Similarly, for major areas of rice and wheat. For example, rice, wheat, mark the areas like this on map and practice this again and again on it. So for map work, you need to practice it on a physical map of India. Let's see some of the questions. Which of the following is the main cause of land degradation in Punjab? Land as a resource, sustainability, the first chapter, resource. Asking you the main cause of land degradation in Punjab. See, again you have to have an understanding of what exactly is happening, because causes सारे हैं, main cause पूछा है. So this checks your understanding. What we do while remembering things is we just see what are the causes of land degradation in Punjab, और हमने 4 याद कर लिए, और क्वेश्चन ने पूछ लिया मेन कॉज. अब ये 4 तो हमने याद किए थे, अब इसमें मेन कॉज याद नहीं है. Try to understand what exactly is happening in Punjab. Just do not remember rote learning के हाँ 4 फटाफट याद कर लिए. Exactly try to analyze the situation, what is happening in Punjab, why it is happening. Ask yourself questions when you are trying to form your conceptual understanding, when you are trying to form those notes. What exactly is happening in Punjab, why it is happening, what are the solutions for it, and then you will come to know what exactly is the main cause. ऐसे जल्दीबाजी में याद करने में हमसे causes याद कर लेते हैं. Under which of the following type of resources tidal energy can be put? Again, you in the first chapter when you read about resources, there is different classification of resources based on different types. You say diagrams bane hue based on certain thing. You have renewable, non-renewable, man-made, natural. You understand the meaning, what exactly is renewable, you will be able to solve the question. You understand the meaning, man-made, natural, exactly meaning kya hai, conceptual. You won't have to remember, recall these diagrams. If you understand what exactly is tidal energy, you will know what type of resource it is. You won't have to recall the diagrams, remembering नहीं करनी पड़ेगी इतनी तेज, जितना अगर आपको समझ आता है कॉन्सेप्ट उससे होगा. Which of the following states black soil is predominantly found? Again a question which will test your understanding. Black soil is specifically related to a certain region of India. And question is asking predominantly found. Again it is taking you one step ahead. Just like in main causes. If you understand the origin of black soil, you know कि specific peninsular India में ही black soil मिलता है. So you would know कि कौन सी state है peninsula में. You can relate it to the cotton growing regions also because it's related to black soil. So these levels of interconnections and your understanding will only happen when you understand it and may have made notes for it in your own language. Similarly, which one of the following is a leguminous crop? You understand the meaning of leguminous crop, the question is dusted. Different crops, what exactly are type? We understand rice, wheat, pulses, millets, jowar, sesame. उनमें से there are a special type of crops which are leguminous. Leguminous are those which fix nitrogen. Understand, remember, solve the question. So this is your different 4 sections which you need to cover. I hope I have given you a broader idea on how to tackle these things, what exactly you can expect from the question paper. So here at Infinity we are starting a crash course where you will be given a complete revision of the important topics. Here we will pick the major important topics of the syllabus from all the 4 subjects. And then we will practice them in the form of test series. So you have the test series included with the course material. When you practice it with the crash course, you remember, you revise. You revise all the important concepts. Here we will help you check if you've done the right thing or not, if you have remembered the right things, if you have understood them correctly or not. We'll try to make you understand those important concepts. And then we will solve papers. We will solve different types of questions from the same topic. So you get completely confident and you lose all those anxiety. कि ऐसे ये remember नहीं हो रहा, ये नहीं हो रहा. We'll have techniques to do that. So I hope I was able to make clear on how exactly you need to tackle this subject, why this subject is not just important for your exam, but important for you as a citizen also. As a person also it's important. Not only it will help you in your career ahead, but it will also help you understand what is happening around you. और ये जब link connect हो जाते हैं तो ये subject इतना मुश्किल नहीं है. Then the fear of remembering things, fear of SST, that I have to read the cumbersome book again and again, that will not happen. Because then you see a practical purpose. You try to make sense कि हाँ ये exactly हो क्यों रहा था, उस चीज से आज क्या effect होया. And history is one subject which we think कि ये तो हो गया, why should we know? History has a lot of implication on what is happening today. So with that, I'll end the session. Thank you.